Hola, mi amigos, ¿cómo estás? Surprise Life, happy Monday. How are you? Happy Monday from a wet but beautiful Wisconsin. This is going to be a shorter live stream. I was inspired this morning. It's been an epiphany-rich morning. I'm going to start off with a really potent story. And I don't know if you felt this when you woke up this morning. I did. It felt like there was this major shift of timelines and time is accelerating rapidly. Who else is feeling that? Time speeding up. In the past, I might have felt anxious or stressed by that. I don't anymore. Just complete peace. However, I did notice that, and it's been an aha epiphany morning. And it's been awesome. So I wanted to share a really important theme with you. I've been thinking about this a lot the last few days. The theme of fear and how we actually make it up. We create fear for ourselves because we are the creators. We are the directors, the writers, the producers, the casting agents, and the stars of our own movie, our own hero's journey called life. And we cast each other. So thank you. Bravo. Thank you for casting me in your movie called Life, whether I play like a little bit role or a cameo, walk-in, or a co-star. Thanks for casting me in your journey, in your movie. I'm happy to be here. Happy to make an impact in positive ways, and thank you for playing a role in mine. When you come from that perspective, it's like, doesn't that bring you so much peace when you realize that you are the creator of all of it and everything that you've created serves you, serves your greater evolution? This plays a big portion, a big role in becoming fearless and realizing that you're making up your own fear. It doesn't have to be in your life anymore. Is that you're the creator. And you can never hate anyone. So if you casted someone in your movie for accelerated evolution and you call them a hater or a troll, an enemy, it's actually an impossibility to actually have enemies because we're all one. And even if you don't look at it from a non-duality standpoint and just look at it as we're all helping each other on this journey to re-remember who we truly are. That's what we're doing here. We create the contrast to help each other re-remember. We come in with such amnesia. And a lot of people will go through their entire lives not re-remembering who they truly are, why they're here. The whole purpose of this game of physical incarnation. And that we are infinite and we go on and on and on. And we always have and we always will. Doesn't that bring you some peace right there? You're never going to cease to exist. You're never going to get it all done. So you might as well enjoy the show, enjoy the ride, the movie. This game of energy is meant to be fun, to experience all the frequencies and to play with this. And a lot of people have forgotten that it's supposed to be fun. I'm having fun. When you wake up to remember who you truly are, you just see everything through the lens of love. Everything is love. You see God everywhere. God is in everything. I know there's that little meme. I know it's like a cartoon, and it's a black and white cartoon, and it shows like there's a tree and there's an arrow pointing that says God, and there's a bee, God, grass, God, person, God, holding his dog, that's God, pile of poo, God. And it's just, it makes you realize and laugh. You're like, God is in everything, and everything is love. How could I ever hate or be jealous of or compete with everything that I have casted and created in my movie called Life? It's all here to serve me. So I'm hoping this brings you some peace, takes the edge off right there. It's Monday. I know Monday's the most dreaded day in the Western world. The day of the highest statistics of suicide. So I love to come just out of the gates really strong on Monday, bringing some good vibes, some inspiration. You know me, I like existential topics and themes. I go straight to the meat of why are we here, and I have since I was a child in this lifetime. So let's start with a story about fear. So my theme here on being afraid. We didn't come here to be afraid. We came here to create and to remember that we are masterful creators and everything that we create serves us. So back to a quick story that's going to help illustrate this. Now, I have felt the most amount of fearlessness in the last 2 years like nothing else. I mean, it's because I have taken that deep inner journey of remembering who I truly am. It makes fear an impossibility. It makes hate an impossibility. The only thing that's possible is love, unconditional love, and growth, and to know that we are here to expand and grow, and we're all serving each other on our hero's journeys by creating, whether it's uplifting content and messages meant to just jar open your heart and soul. Well, you are a soul. That's what I typically like to put out there. That's what I'm called to do. Or those playing roles, cameos in your movie called life, who are here to create contrast, which people call negative things. An ex, a hater, an enemy, a neighbor or coworker that you just can't stand. Maybe it's a family member that did something traumatic to you. You know, we casted all that. That blueprint was written before we incarnated into these physically focused meat suits. Like, why would you get mad about your own creations or hate your own creation? You're the one creating it. And so this takes me to fear, right? Why, when you realize you are infinite, you will never cease to exist. You'll go on and on and on like you always have. How could you ever have fear? Even if you're not resonating yet, and you will, with the fact that you're creating it all and all of it serves you, just to understand that you are eternal, you can never fail. It's just delayed success because you'll never cease to exist. Doesn't that take the edge off? Doesn't that feel good? Lighten the load a little bit. You're never going to die. I know in our little finite minds, we come into this indoctrination and programming that you've got maybe 90 or 100 years, right? Laps around the sun. And that's it. When you come to realize that you're infinite, that you're ancient, you are ancient. Many of us have danced through the eons together. And we're remembering this now through the amnesia that we have created for the sake of fun, to remember who we truly are. We create it as fun. Okay, we have amnesia, we slow down our frequency really, really slow into the 3-4 density, and where it's really, really slow and dense, and so we can see ourselves from our higher selves overcoming these challenges that we've set forth for ourselves before we even incarnated. Like the supposed trauma from a family member or ex or something. Like, we've created all of it. And some people would be like, how is that fun, Amie? How is that fun? Me going through trauma or bad experiences or all these pain and suffering. Believe me, this is, or you don't have to, you'll find out when you get back to the other side, if not in this incarnation, we have created all of it. And it is all fun, the fun of expansion, the fun of experience and growth and evolution. What else are you going to do with infinity? That's what I'll ask you. If you know that you're infinite and that you've created worlds throughout your eternity already, that you are ancient and you've created worlds. I mean, it's chump change. It's easy now. I mean, think about creating new earth. Like, if you know that you've already created worlds and been through so much, I mean, this lifetime's a breeze, right? How about that for some perspective? People are waking up to their power like nothing else. They're remembering who they truly are. And then thereby knowing that fear is something that we make up for ourselves. We don't have to live a life of fear anymore when we know that we are the creators. Isn't that exciting? And that we've created so much. If you knew who you really were, if you went back to some of your past lives, although it's all simultaneous experience now, if you went back to see who you really were and what you've created, it would shock the shit out of you in a major way, in an amazing way. And it would take whatever limitations one is putting on themselves right now through the programming and the indoctrination that we set up advanced evolutionary contrast for us to wake up faster and remember who we truly are. It's all fun. What are you going to do with eternity? You're going to create. You're the master creator. You're going to create worlds. And, you know, if you think about that, you're like, of course I want to give myself some challenges and see myself overcoming them. So how about that? Does that add a little more joy and lightness to your day, to your existence? You're creating all of it. There's no need to fear anything. And since you know that you will never die, in fact, we actually choose 7 potential exit points in our lives before we incarnate. So we already know when we're going to exit to the next adventure. There you go. So you don't have to worry about death because you're never going to die and you've chosen your exit point already. How about that for a Monday morning, right? I want to share a quick story with you before we finish up this awesome theme. By the way, this has been very quiet. I know I haven't announced that. I have a difficult time announcing live streams because I like to speak when I'm inspired. When the moment calls me and says, yes, this is it, this is aligned, then I go. And I hear that nudge from the universe, from my higher self, and I always tapped in flow state and like, okay, I'll take inspired action. So here I am. I didn't know I was going to come on here. If you're watching the replay, by the way, say hi where you're joining from. I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is a dialogue that we're having, a conversation. One of my favorite reasons to do live streams to my beautiful global family around in Facebook land. And share this live stream too. It could be just the right words that somebody needs to hear today to wake them up. Whoa. And I have one major gem I'm going to leave with you at the end. Quick story about fear and fear storms. Who here will admit that they've ever been through a fear storm? Vulnerability points. By the way, I gotta have my MO is to make a yummy, gorgeous, nutrient green smoothie. It's actually more like a purple smoothie, and drink it on camera. Cheers. My cells are dancing with joy. And yours will too if you make a green smoothie every day. Who will admit that they've ever experienced a fear storm? And even if you won't admit it, that's okay. I am happy to serve myself up on the offering plate with my own vulnerability. That's how we learn from each other. By the way, it feels amazing too when you can be completely yourself, authentic, real, vulnerable, put yourself out there and just be like, hey, this is me. This is my experience, what I've learned, what I've discovered, what I've struggled with, and this is it. You know how good that feels? Just to be completely transparent. It is one of the most amazing feelings, and authenticity is one of the highest frequencies. People are waking up to that as well. In fact, in the next 20 years, mark my words, everybody's going to realize that the name of the game for coming here, for incarnating into these gorgeous, amazing, physically focused meat suits, is not about the pile of money or these specific, levels of achievement that we see in materialism or the hot wife or husband or whatever it is. Nothing that's wrong with those. It's just, that's not what life's about. The incarnation process, the purpose is self-mastery, especially through all the levels of darkness, which is simply contrast, to greater serve our rapid evolution, re-remembering who we are through the amnesia of forgetting, and mastering ourselves, mastering our energy, mastering our emotions, and enjoying the experience of all the frequencies. It's supposed to be fun. So we came here for self-mastery, and the sooner one gets that, and you realize it's not this formula you've been fed about, this many cars or businesses doing, this or that, or the pile of money or status, like none of that. Like the treasure, the gem, the name of the game, the pile of gold, so you will, at the end of the rainbow is self-mastery. And when you get that and you start focusing on mastering yourself, that becomes the greatest joy in life ever. And I'll tell you one thing, and I was laughing about this with my business partner this morning. We're laughing about, if you really want to accelerate your self-mastery, which is why we all came here, might as well get around to why you came to this planet instead of, I mean, it's all perfect, but, you know, redoing. How many lifetimes, incarnations will it take for one to wake up and realize who they truly are? And it's all about self-mastery. Why not this lifetime? There's enough accelerated, blatant contrast at our fingertips to wake people up now. And there's so many awakened souls to lean on. Okay, you don't have to be, you know, a solo initiate anymore. You know, like 2,000 years ago. Think about, you know, how hard it was for people back then. Not a lot of awakened souls, but now, everywhere you go, there's truly awakened souls, or they're on that journey of awakening and self-mastery. So you've got a lot of good souls to lean on. So why not now? You know, when I was a kid, when I came into this existence, I looked at religion, and I was raised in a highly religious family. In fact, my great-grandmother times 5 was the founder of the religion, Seventh-day Adventism. That's what I came into. And age 5, I knew in my heart, I was like, this does not resonate. And I told my family too. I'm like, no, doesn't resonate. Not with what I already knew, even as a young ancient soul. I just came in, I was like, no. But I would evaluate things. I was highly observant and just like, don't resonate with that, not that formula, that structure, all those rules and regulations. No. And it is like metaphorically beaten out of highly evolved souls in the form of young, young children through indoctrination and programming and the school system and religion, and innocently through parents and friends. And thank goodness it wasn't for me. However, it is, you see such highly evolved souls coming in, and if they're not awake enough and strong enough to survive that indoctrination and programming, they often go back to sleep. So, to the story that I meant to share with you. Hey, Brizio, welcome. Hello from Wisconsin. It's a beautiful day here. Say hi, where you're joining from. What a meaty, potent topic to start off with a bang on Monday, right? Every day is a great day, and time is accelerating massively. I have a fear storm story to tell you real quick before we end this, and I had asked, raise your hand for anybody that's willing and brave enough to say, yes, I have experienced a fear storm or a dark night of the soul. Big points for vulnerability from me to you. I'm going to tell you one that stands out, and I've actually made films about it. I have one film, professionally made film. It's only a few minutes long. It took me a whole month to make this film because it's conceptual, which is a different type of filmmaking for me as a filmmaker and editor. Conceptual films. I'm going to drop it in here for you to see. It's called The Tibetan Allegory, The Room of 1,000 Demons, and it's so potent and powerful. You're going to love it. Hey, John. How are you? Hello, my friend. Say hi where you're joining from. Actually, John, I don't know what part of the world you hail from. Hello from a cold, rainy, but beautiful Wisconsin fall day here. The Room of 1,000 Demons. You're going to want to watch this film that I made. It's so potent. And I've spoken about it at length. And it's very relatable because it's such an allegory for life, especially when it comes to fear. And I really want you to see this because this helped me get through one of the most major fear storms that I've ever experienced in my life. And I'll try to make this story quick. I have a tendency to be long-winded, and this is how I am. So let's see if I can keep this brief. So about 10 years ago, I was walking my first pilgrimage on the Camino de Santiago in Spain. This one, I was walking from France. I've walked 8 as of this year. Yes, I like walking pilgrimages all over the world. And this was a 40-day one from France over the Pyrenees to Santiago de Compostela to the Atlantic Ocean. So 40 days of walking over mountains with a backpack by myself. I mean, there's pilgrims everywhere, so you're never really alone. And this was one of my last days walking. And we had something going on in Spain called the bed race. What the bed race is you have so many pilgrims converging, peregrinos from all over the world. And so you have not enough beds to stay at night, to sleep, and too many pilgrims. And so this causes a bed race. Hey, Carl, fellow Wisconsinite, how's it going? Cheers. Green smoothie. Ooh, that's good. And so I got up really early one morning, like at 5 in the morning, pitch black. And I started walking because I knew I was going to win the bed race. And I had a really long day ahead of me. I think it was like a 9-hour day. And I started off in the dark, going over hills, terrain, rough terrain, dangerous terrain, in the dark by myself. And it was so foggy that I could only see 10 feet in front of me. And my headlamp, I just lost the batteries, not replaced them. So all I had was my iPhone torch, which didn't give me much visibility, like 10 feet in front of me. So I'm walking by myself in the dark, 5 in the morning, over hills, treacherous terrain. And then I started letting the fear storm hit me. I could feel my heart pumping, getting hot, like up in my face, my neck. And I started thinking about timber wolves. You're probably laughing at me. He's like, Amie, what are you thinking about timber wolves? Well, it turns out another day I had walked by myself uphill in the dark for an hour through a forest because I had like a 10-hour day of walking. And I felt eyes on me. Not that they were going to hurt me, but they were watching me. And then someone told me later, they're like, oh, you were walking through the timber wolf forest. Yeah, there's timber wolves there. Whoa. So now I'm thinking there's timber wolves watching me, you know, because I'm going through the woods, over hills, in the dark, could hardly see. So I'm thinking like timber wolves are watching me. And then I started thinking about falling, and then nobody's around me, no pilgrims, and I fall down a hill and nobody finds me, and I'm there by myself, hurt, injured. And the fear storm gets higher, gets even more intense. Then I started thinking about this American pilgrim who was recently and brutally murdered on the Camino. Some psychopath mass murderer had killed like 7 women, lured her off, and then in the most horrible, brutal way had murdered this pilgrim, this female pilgrim. So I started thinking about like mass murderers. So I'm in this huge fear storm as I'm walking, barely, being able to see. And it was like this note from this divine message from higher self. Wait. You're making this all up in your head. You're making up this fear storm. You're creating it. You're creating the fear. You're making yourself afraid. It was like this light bulb moment for me. And I'm like, I'm making up my own fear. And I can just drop it. I can push a button like off and on, the off and on switch of fear. And I'm like, I could just drop fear right now and release it. And that's what I chose to do. I recognized my lower mind, my ego, all of that was getting caught up in this fear storm, making it all up. And I just dropped it. And I had a prayer to some badass guardian angels. And I was like, okay, I see that I'm making up my own fear. And the message that came through was, you watch your feet, we got your back. You watch your feet, we got your back. And I remember the fear completely melted away at that moment. The cortisol, everything, the stress hormones running through my body. I just relaxed. I felt, like 1,000,000 feet tall, completely taken care of, safe, protected. And I let the fear go, and it released it. And realized I was making it up. I was the one causing myself all that harm. Some people live in that fear storm, fight or flight, their whole lives. Imagine the stress hormones pumping through their bodies all the time. They're making themselves sick. Hey, Oral, welcome. Say, how are you joining from? What a potent topic. If you're just joining us now, this is one you're going to want to go back and listen to. This is relatable to everybody. And if you hear a gem, 1 or 2 gems in this could change your life if applied, when you really marinate with it. This is such a potent topic that we're creating our own fear. We're the creators of all of it. And so I went on to tell the rest of the story. I spent 2.5 hours in the dark in the thick fog with 10 feet visibility with my little iPhone torch, going through treacherous terrain, but feeling completely protected. And I didn't get hurt. I didn't get picked up by a mass murderer. No timber wolves, attacked me. And then finally the sun came up, the fog lifted, and I saw a little village in the distance, and I was so happy to get to this village. I remember walking in there and wanting to hug all the pilgrims in there, and I had like the best cup of coffee of my life. Café con leche. Hey Frank, how's it going? And just like what a relief. And it was such a pivotal moment of how I created my own fear storm, and I could turn it off like switching on and off a button, and how powerful we are in our own creation. So why not create the best when we realize that we are the creators and we're creating, those we've casted in our film called Life, our hero's journey. There's no enemies. There's nobody to fear. Even what we look like. I got some calls from friends in the last few days talking about Agenda 23 and this and that and fearing this and that and doing all these things to protect themselves. And like I could just feel the fear in their voice energetically coming through the phone. And I'm thinking like, well, I'm not going to be pouring my energy into that, because I'm only creating that which I don't desire. It's all frequential. If you're in a high frequency of love, and you're creating from that master frequency, nothing else can touch you. You're in a completely different reality than those who are creating a timeline of fear. Isn't that interesting, right? Let that one marinate. And so my advice, encouragement, something that I've discovered in my own journey, and I will always share what I've discovered with you, because if it benefits me, of course I want it to benefit my my global human family in oneness, because I am you, you are me, you are my creation, and I am yours. So of course I want to share any gem, any epiphany, any realization with you, because we all benefit, we all rise together. Is that take the journey of rediscovering, re-remembering who you truly are, and every soul's going to do that on their own path. If you know the prize at the end of each existence is self-mastery, make that your focus. It's not the pile of money or the hot wife or husband or cars or properties or anything like that. You'll probably get more of that when you focus on self-mastery. That's the prize. That's why you came here. There's nothing else more fulfilling than why you truly came here on this journey, is self-mastery. And I say first start with mastering your emotions. And we did a whole live stream series for 1.5 months on that alone. We dissected the 10 biggest ways that we lose, that we give away, that we leech our life force, our energy, our precious currency, and the 10 ways that we lose that the fastest way. And that was a really powerful live stream series. Ooh, that was good. That should be a masterclass in itself, and maybe it will be. So self-mastery begins with the foundation of mastering your emotions. Hey Jeremy, how's it going? Say hi, where you're joining, don't be shy. Hello from Wisconsin, happy Monday. The foundation of mastering one's emotions, if one is being constantly triggered, like trigger happy all the time, and reactive with an unregulated nervous system, being pulled to and blown here to fro like a tumbleweed in the wind, that is not mastery of oneself or emotions. One will be a victim in level 1 consciousness for the rest of their lives until they learn how to self-regulate their nervous system and calm themselves and stay unreactive in a calm, relaxed state, no matter what is occurring in the supposed external reality. Now that's mastery. When you can get to that place, when you can be calm, eye of the hurricane, peace incarnate, no matter what's happening, that's mastery. So that is a prize right there. You are the prize in self-mastery. Starting with emotional mastery. I want you, well, my suggestion take this on, play with this energy if you'd like, if it resonates. If you want to play with something that's really transformed my life, especially in the last year, this is it. Here's the idea for you, is be aware, hyper aware of what energy you are creating with throughout the day. Is it lack and scarcity? Because if you're creating from the underlying energy of lack and scarcity, you are going to be, it's going to be disastrous what you're creating, and it's going to create more lack and scarcity. So if you're starting a business or you want to ask someone out on a date, right? And you're coming from fear or lack, thinking about what if I get rejected, what if someone says no, whether it's in business or a relationship or whatever the case may be, like you're literally creating that with the energy that you're coming from. I find it funny that so many people are scared of sales, doing sales, asking someone out on a date, whatever it is. Sales is just discovering someone's problems or needs and solving it for them. So it's interesting to me that so many people hate sales or get worried about being rejected. You can't be rejected unless you reject yourself first. That's the truth right there. So, okay, did that save some years of your life right there? Some years of heartache? Good, we solved that one. What else should we move on to? We're solving a lot right here. This is like gem-packed, epiphany rich. You apply even just a few of these in your life and bam, shit's gonna happen. It's gonna move. You're going to notice, and you're going to love it. You're going to see your self-mastery just accelerate, and you're going to spiral upwards. Your frequencies, speedy, and you want to, because that's why you came here. So notice what energy you're creating from. If you're creating from fear, lack, scarcity, stop. Get your nervous system calm, relaxed, regulated. There's so many ways to do that too. If you want to ask me, I'm happy to provide some insights there. You never, well, I'm not going to say you, one never wants to create from this chaotic, unregulated nervous system. And what I've realized is that is the case, the fate right now of most people. And they don't even know it. They're spinning out of control, stressed out, probably stress hormones just coursing through their bodies. And they're only creating more of that, more chaos, more self-sabotage. I haven't realized until this last year how important it is to have a calm, relaxed, regulated, self-regulated nervous system. And I don't mean with numbing out. I have so many friends, and this is no judgment from me. This is a no judgment zone, because all judgment is self-judgment. I have friends that wake and bake. They're calming their chaotic nervous system with drugs from the moment they wake up until they go to sleep at night. And they need it to even go to sleep. They get to wake up. They do it all day long. And so relying on some type of substance or person, it could be, hey, you got to run to the therapist, or maybe it's a friend or a spouse or somebody. Whatever one is leaning on and needing versus being able to self-regulate, that's a huge aha right there. And there's, infinite ways to solve that. You want to self-regulate without having to rely on anything external. By the way, no judgment to anybody that wakes and bakes or uses anything to calm and, their nervous system. I just like my friends that do that. I've never been into it. It's not for me. However, no judgment from me. If there is a crutch, that's something to notice for oneself. If there's a crutch that one is relying on versus being able to do all of that from the inner journey, self-regulate, self-calming, and relax. I mean, in the journey of self-mastery, that's what you want to do anyway. So I would say, might as well start working on yourself now. Take the inner journey. It's why we came. 'Tis why we came. And what a journey it is. And back to what I was saying earlier, it's meant to be fun. Experience all the frequencies. This is an energetic game. And once you know how to play the game becomes fun. And I'm having a blast right now, and I'm seeing sensing and feeling and seeing results of this time speeding up, even though I know linear time is illusory and we've created that to slow it down in the third, fourth dimension so we can see ourselves overcoming the challenges that we set forth as our blueprint before we even incarnated on planet Earth. How's that for a mouthful? Woo! I am on fire this morning. Thank you for joining me on this amazing Monday morning live stream. We're already at 12:30 here in the afternoon, beautiful Wisconsin. If you watch this on the replay, please drop in replay and say hi and where you're joining from. Share this live stream. This is epic content, and this is what we want to get out there. When I look at what content is pervading the world on social media, most of it is crap. Crap. There's my Scottish accent. Crap. And it's meaningless, and it's meant to divide people, distract them, and unregulate their nervous system. So I stay away from most content out there. This, however, is conscious content meant from my heart to yours in our journey together of how I can serve you, because we all came to be of service to our global human family. I am you, you are me. Share this content, whether it's privately with someone who is just, you know, is going to land well with them today, or share it on your wall. Let's get this message out there. We are infinite. There's nothing to be afraid of. We're creating fear for ourselves. And when you can get to this place of knowing, because it is a knowing, and realize you're like, I don't have to be scared of anything the rest of my life. Do you know how powerful that is? It's powerful, just like you. And you are powerful. Mwah! Much love to you. Enjoy your Monday. Please share this video, and I will see you. I don't even know when I'm going to do a live stream yet. Whenever I'm inspired, I will see you on the next live stream.